Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to make smothered pork chops, also known as fried pork chops and gravy. Now, my family and I have been making smothered pork chops for so many years. It's nothing new, but still good. If you'd like to know how I make my smothered pork chops, keep watching. I have 6 pork chops with the bone in. I prefer to have the bone in my pork chops, but you can do boneless if you want to. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add salt, pepper, some oregano, and garlic salt to all 6 of my pork chops. And then I'm going to rub the seasonings all around them, back and front. To the flour, I'm going to add the salt, pepper, oregano, and garlic salt again. And then I'm going to whisk it all around. Let's add about 3 tablespoons of baking powder. And then mix it around again. We're going to dip all the pork chops in the flour and then put them back on the plate. Make sure you get it all in the flour. Don't miss any spots. Okay, we're going to let our pork chops rest for 5 minutes, and every 5 minutes we're going to put them back in the flour and then on the plate 3 times. It's been 5 minutes. So we're going to take the pork chops and dip them in the flour all over again and then let them rest for another 5 minutes. So for the third and last time, we're going to take the pork chops again, dip them in the flour, shake off, and put them right back into the plate. Let's fry the pork chops. I filled about 1/3 of my pan with vegetable oil and I let it heat up for about 7 minutes. Now I have my heat set to medium, which is 5. Now we're going to test and see if it's actually ready. We test by sprinkling a little bit of water into the grease and we see if it pops. If it pops, we're good to go. It's popping and we're ready to fry the pork chops. We're going to go ahead and put the first one in. Don't drop it in or you'll burn yourself. Place it in gently. And then place the second one in gently as well. And we're going to let them fry for a few minutes on each side. Pork chops really do not take long to cook. I turned the heat up to 6 because I want them to brown a little bit more, and I've been cooking them for about 5 minutes. So let's go ahead and turn over the pork chops. I've cooked my pork chops for about 10 minutes, and they're nice and brown, so I'm going to remove them, shake off the extra grease, and place them on a rack. When you place them on the rack, you immediately want to sprinkle them with a little bit of salt for flavor. All right, now let's fry the rest of our pork chops. While the pork chops are frying, let's work on our gravy. I preheated my stove to medium heat. Now I'm going to add a little bit of vegetable oil at the bottom of the pan so the butter doesn't burn. To the oil, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of butter. Once our butter is melted, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of flour and mix it around. This is called a roux. We are making a roux. We're going to keep stirring our flour around until it browns. Once the flour starts to brown, I like mine nice and chocolatey. We're going to go ahead and add the chicken broth. I'm using 1 can of chicken broth, by the way. And we're going to bring it to a simmer so our sauce thickens. To the sauce, we're going to add some salt. We're going to add some pepper. And we're going to add some garlic salt. And continue to stir until our sauce thickens, our gravy. Make sure you stir the sides because a lot of the time the flour will creep up on the sides, and that flour is pretty important. Now that our gravy is nice and thick, we're going to turn the stove off. And we're going to let it cool a little. When it cools, it's going to thicken a lot more. This is what my pork chops look like after I'm done frying them. So for our smothered pork chops and gravy, we're going to take a fried pork chop. We're going to dip it in the gravy. And then we're going to lay it on our plate. I made mashed potatoes and string beans to go with it because I love my pork chops and gravy with mashed potatoes. You can make it with whatever you want. You can make it with rice. You can make it with pasta, however you like to do it. But dinner is served. If you like the way that I made my fried pork chops and gravy, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.